Welcome to Chase Your Dreams. With the COVID-19 situation, we've decided to do our talk show in a stay-at-home format. We want all of our viewers to be safe and understand that during these challenging times that we're all in this together. Now sit back, relax, and enjoy Chase Your Dreams, where dreams become reality. To our show, everyone. As you can see, we're doing an at-home version of our talk show, Chase Your Dreams, the place where dreams become reality. And we're joined by Sean Bacha. Hopefully I pronounced your last name correct.
Oh, it's Baca, just like the drink, no D.
Okay, well, I can remember that.
Nice.
And what we're going to talk about is a career as a diesel mechanic. Sean, let me ask you this. How did you get into this industry?
Well, unfortunately, I dropped out of high school when I was about 17. And for a couple of years there, I was looking around, trying to go from job to job, looking to see what I wanted to do for my lifetime career, and just really never went anywhere. My dad was an elevator mechanic, and my other relatives were mechanics, so they pushed me towards looking into automotive. So I went to Lincoln Tech Institute in Oak Lawn at the time and talked to a career counselor there, and I decided to go for the diesel technology program that they had. And that's really how I got started.
So what is a diesel mechanic? What do you do?
So a diesel mechanic does many, many tasks, too numerous to even explain. But they do tasks like basic maintenance, oil changes, grease jobs on trucks, engine transmission, drive axle maintenance and repair. But they also do major repairs like engine overhauls, transmission rebuilds and installations, rear end rebuilds and installations. But there's more to just transportation in the trucking industry. So a technician could be working on heavy machinery out in the field. That's involved in the diesel technologies too. You could be working on trucks, class 6 to 8. You could be working on buses. You could be working on RVs, off-road equipment such as bulldozers, backhoes, that sort of thing, boats, ships, machinery in a factory. There's even trucks and cars nowadays, which is huge with diesel technology. So there's a lot to it, and that's where a really young mechanic should get into one of these technical schools and help develop his path for his career.
Wow, that is way more than I thought was involved in being a diesel technician, for sure. Now, you were saying a good school, get into a good school and a good training program. How long is a program to really set you up to work on every vehicle you just named?
Well, when you go to one of these technical schools, the reputable ones, that's usually about 1.5 to 2 years, depending on what the actual learning task is that you decide you want to go through, because usually they'll offer an automotive and a diesel class. So that could take up to 2 years, depending on the school. But most of these technical schools, they help you get enrolled. They also teach a basic automotive class. High schools do the same thing. I suggest that anybody that wants to get involved with it, at least if you can get into a trade school that offers a little bit to get your feet wet, that's really the way to go.
Yeah.
Gives you a little experience so you can see if this is the right industry you want to be in. You know?
And do you think, I actually think it's a great thing that you recognize that, hey, trades are kind of my thing, and you went and explored that. Would you say it's a good idea to get into it earlier?
Yeah, the schooling could take up to 2 years depending on what your path is. But then once you get into the workforce, you could have an apprenticeship that could take up to 4 years, where you have hands-on training with a journeyman mechanic, a senior mechanic. So it is a long process, but it's well worth it, because once you get past that apprenticeship stage and start being a journeyman, the sky's the limit. And especially if you're studious, do the job the right way, you can go a long way in a company just being a really good mechanic.
That's
Hey,
so
Sean,
great.
is there a, I don't know, I guess I wouldn't say age limit, but a stage in your life where, you know, you probably are too old, or maybe you shouldn't consider, or is this something where someone, let's say around, in their 40s or 50s, they've always, you know, tinkered around and, you know, they really enjoy trying to consider this? Is this something that you would suggest for someone even making a career change from one career to the next?
Absolutely. I mean, the industry as it stands right now, we're begging for mechanics, whether, doesn't matter how old they are. So if they've gone through a class and they have the knowledge to get out there and make that career change and have the ambition to stick with it, I would suggest it. I mean, this industry, like I said earlier, it's not glamorous, but it's a very good career choice for anybody looking to make a decent living. You know, I mean, you start out at a good wage and you can only increase it as you learn. So it's definitely a good opportunity for anybody at any age.
Now, Lawrence had mentioned age as a potential obstacle, and you're saying that's not an issue. Are there any obstacles that you have to overcome when you want to become one?
Especially if there's if the students come out of these training schools, they get basic set of hand tools, but they have to be prepared to make a huge investment over their career in the tools that they need, because it's an ever-changing industry. So the tools, I have tools when I first started 30 years ago that I probably will never use, but you're always constantly buying tools, and trust me, the Snap-on and Matco guys are there to help you along the way. But the other thing is, you know, constant training. Learning never stops in this industry because of the rapid technology changes. You have to be prepared for that. And then working long hours. When you go to some of these companies right out of school, they're going to give you a probationary period. Could be up to 90 days, maybe a year tops, but eventually you're going to have to go to nights, which is a huge obstacle for some people. But if you're willing to work that shift and you're ambitious, you can work your way up to a day shift, you know, or possibly, you know, move on to another company that's going to treat you a little better, you know, pay you a little more, your benefits may be more, but that's really the most the best obstacles that I can say you're gonna encounter. You know, long hours, constant training, and tools. You got to make that investment.
So would you say that as far as like character traits go, that that is ambition is one of the most necessary ones in this career?
Absolutely. I mean, the other thing, you got to be detail oriented. You got to have some kind of ambition to get involved with the technology. Computers are a huge thing on some of these diesel engines, and you have to ever change to the conditions, you know. So every time they come out with something new, you got to learn that, and then you got to try and be proficient at it. But just about the time you get proficient at it, they come up with something else. So it's an ever-changing industry, and you got to be, you know, self-disciplined. You got to be a self-starter. You know, most of these companies depend on mechanics not to have to instruct them the whole time that they're on the floor working. They've got to be able to do things on their own, and you got to want to do it. You know, you put into it what you want to get out of it, right? So it's very important to be a self-starter and an ambitious person.
Hey, Sean, being that right now there is a shortage of diesel mechanics, and it's no secret that it's only going to get worse as people start retiring, and with everything going on with technology and the transportation industry as a whole, would you suggest that this would be something that not only someone can get into as a great career, but as a career that they can sustain for a long period of time?
Absolutely. I mean, you said it yourself, the demand is not going to go away for a diesel technician. With the technology that's coming out, these trucks need to be fixed. They're handmade pieces of machinery. We're unfortunately not perfect, so stuff happens and they need to be maintained and repaired. I mean, it's just the nature of the business. But I recommend anybody that's looking for a career choice, you're interested in working on some type of machinery, a car, a truck, off-road mechanic, whatever the case may be. This is a sustainable career for anybody looking to endeavor for the long term.
Now you say there's different shifts that you do, and you said working on the floor. Now, what are the job sites? Are you remote sometimes? Are they mobile? Do you report to one place, or?
Well, it really depends on the company that you actually hire into.
Okay.
You could be, working inside of a shop, but maybe the company is a fleet and one of their personal vehicles break down on the road, so they may send you out on the road in a truck. If you're working on heavy machinery, of course, you can't always get that to a shop. Sometimes they're out in the middle of a cornfield doing work and it breaks down. So you sometimes may have to go out there if you're in the off-road. And like if you're working on a boat or a ship, you could be out on the water. You may have to be called out there and boated out there. So it's a very diverse and interesting field. I've done everything in my career, from off-road to boats to trucks, and it's just, if you're one of them people that want a little diversity in your career so you're never bored, this is the career to do it in. You can do just about anything you want.
That sounds great and fun.
Yeah. Very interesting.
Yeah.
Well, it's definitely a dirty career, but it's something that if you enjoy doing it, you'd have a great time and have a career as opposed to just a job.
Yep.
Yeah. And I think the technology aspect really would be enticing to the younger generation, since
Absolutely.
they're so infused in technology. They get to do both, really hands-on.
for sure.
And yeah, that's great.
For sure.
Hey, Sean, if someone is really excited, they want to get into this career and they're really serious about it, what steps would you suggest to that person if they wanted to make their dream a reality right now?
Well, if they're going to go and make their dream a reality right now, I suggest they go and talk to an ambitious associate for one of these schools. They're gonna help them decide what their career path is and how they get there, but they also jumpstart the employment process. So when they get close to graduation, they help them develop a resume. They also help them spread that resume around to the companies in the industry that are looking for very ambitious and bright technicians that want to get hired. And there's a lot of OEMs, original equipment manufacturers, that have programs associated with these schools now. So the career path can be, very different and very diverse, like we talked about earlier. He may want to go to off-road. He may have that opportunity to do that, but they also help the student after graduation to make sure it's the right path for them. So I think it's the best way to approach the situation.
That's great.
Well, I tell you, this was a great interview, and I really appreciate you coming on the show, Sean.
Well, I appreciate you guys having my input, and I really enjoyed being with you guys.
Yeah.
It's
It sounds
very
like
eye-opening.
you really enjoy your job. That's it. That's the best thing.
Yeah.
32-year career so far, and I started from the bottom, like I says, and I got all the way to the top. So I
Awesome.
really enjoy this career, and I'm proud of it. So,
That's so great.
good luck to all the students out there that are listening.
Yeah.
Thank you, Sean. I appreciate it. And don't go away. We'll be right back. Welcome back, everyone. We are here with Timothy Cross Sr. And Timothy's going to be here to talk about mental health and addiction. Timothy, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm glad and honored to be here.
Glad to have you.
Yeah.
Timothy, I want to start off. What made you get into mental health?
Well, I don't know if it was really a choice or, well, since it mainly part of my own struggles, and we talk about the book I wrote, but mainly my own struggles as a substance abuse counselor. But before that, what got me into mental health was my struggles of 18 years being a recovering addict. And then, of course, understanding the correlation between mental health and mental stuff, what people go through. And so it probably really wasn't my choice, but as a result of going through some things and getting in this field, God kind of made the choice for me, and I loved it, and I've been with that pretty much ever since.
So I feel like there's a little bit of a chicken and egg question with this, but I would just like to know your opinion. Which do you think comes first, mental health issues that cause addiction, or addiction that causes mental health issues?
Yeah, and many of us in the field has got that question is debated in 1,000 million times. I don't really, I'm not sure in terms of, I think it's kind of, some of it can be both, I guess, from my perspective. There are, well, let me go it this way. There are, of course, clients and people that I've known, and there's a population that have mental issues and use drugs to cope. And then, of course, there's a lot who use drugs and then end up with mental issues, what we call co-occurring illnesses. So you got an addiction, and then you have mental illness, bipolar, schizo, a variety of things. So which one really came first? I'm not sure. There's some medical issues that would probably point you probably to both sides. So I'm not really sure if there's a real clear standard answer on that.
Yeah,
So
I mean, it is an interesting thing because, you know, just as human beings, people are curious of certain things. So sometimes it starts out that way, you know, like, and it is I don't know, in your years helping people, if you have found that it seems like more of like, you're born with a genetic thing, or because some people will experiment and then stop, and then they have their college years and then they stop, you know, like, so, or there's people who can't do that. So was that more of a genetic thing in that?
Well, there is some clear connection between some hereditary things that people have passed down, or I don't know where it's passed down, you know, clients that have had parents that had bipolar, schizo, various mental issues, and those were now medically, you know, obviously I'm not a doctor, but there's a definitely connection there. Right. And I think even in, I think one of the main, was it Drew Barrymore? Yeah. That was one of the first ones who, from a celebrity standpoint, made a connection between her father and her great grandfather, and they did some tracing down, not only in terms of alcoholism, but also some mental stuff that was going on. And actually, at one time, she talks very openly and very candidly about that. I remember that because that actually helped me in following her story. So there is. Yeah, there is a connection, I believe, in terms of the mental issues that can be connected and hereditary that can be passed down. Yes.
Timothy, let me ask you this: being that, you know, we're doing this at-home version of our show because of the pandemic and everything going on, there's always been issues with addiction and abuse and everything. Why do you think it has really exploded right now? With you know, dealing with this, because I mean, it's a huge, noticeably big difference between before the pandemic and now regarding those issues.
Yeah, very, very, very good question, and trust me, on a daily basis, I'm helping and dealing with that and helping people through that. So let me say this way. First of all, one of the big things of support when it comes to people that are suffering, they're struggling with addiction, is connection with a sponsor, and there's a connection with other people that's recovering. And so when those meetings, I remember when they shut down the first thing that was like a panic was like, oh my goodness, because there's meetings, there's AA meetings, there's NA meetings, there's faith-based meetings. There's meetings all the time, and those are a tremendous part of a person's recovery. And so when those are taken away, then the person has to go back and kind of face some things in a home. For example, if you are struggling with addiction, but you are now living with a verbally or physically abusive partner, so now you can't go anywhere, and so now you have to deal with that. You can't, normally a person would be able to go out and they'll be able to go and call a sponsor or call a mentor or whatever. And so a lot of that has not happened. Child abuse, I understand, is skyrocketing, but there are many people that have relapsed in these last 2 months as a result of not being able to get to their support system. And that's one of the reasons why. The good thing about it is the many 24-hour Zoom meetings, recovery meetings, NA recovery meetings that have happened, and that has helped a lot. But people in recovery, that one-on-one contact is really important. And and then they're forced, maybe sometimes because they they'll stay at home to deal with the very thing that they are struggling, that's contributing to their addiction.
Now, you said the 24-hour Zoom meetings. Is this something that you're participating in? Are you still?
Absolutely.
Okay, you're still out there.
Absolutely. Mm-hmm. Yeah, all day. And the positive thing about this is like there's 24-hour meetings. There's on Facebook, of course, there's they have AA pages, NA pages, and then we post, and they post a lot of 24-hour meetings. And the great thing about it is that there are meetings that occur all around the world, and that's a good thing about it. I've met so many people that in every single part of the country, Pakistan, Russia, and whatever. And so that's the good thing about it, going through the same thing. And so the 24-hour meetings that's the good thing that has happened out of this pandemic crisis.
That's great.
So you mentioned support systems and just connecting with people. What else helped you to overcome your addiction? Where did you get that strength from?
Oh wow, that would almost. I give the short version. That almost take another. I'll probably take another meeting. But I give you the short version. So the short version is mainly. I grew up in a Christian home. I was a Christian and a preacher and a pastor, still am. And I got caught up in, it was a gradual process. Before I knew it, I was off into addiction and using crack cocaine in particular. And so I think your question was, how did I get out of it? It was a process, just like it was a process. As I share with clients and teach, it's a process to get in. It's a process to get out. And the main thing that recovering people that we struggle with at the beginning was accepting the fact that you have lost control. Why? Because all your life, most of us have had control of everything. Mm-hmm. I tell them kind of, you didn't like the job, you got a different job. You didn't like the car, you got a different car. You didn't like the girlfriend, you got a different girlfriend. You got divorced. You had control of everything, whether people liked it or not. So now, when you come to this little powder or this drink, and somebody says that, well, you got a problem, you just like, are you kidding? You know what I've had control over? I can control this. I'm sure, all right. So they don't realize that. So with me, it was the same thing. I just couldn't accept the fact that, I got this. I can handle this. Now the latter part of your question was, how did I get out? Mainly, it was God. It was not religion, just my relationship with God. But it also was accepting the fact that programs like NA, based programs like Celebrate Recovery, New Life Recovery, and the 12 steps helped me to begin the process to heal and to recover. And it was long, painful, and it's a continuing journey. And that's kind of it. That's the nutshell, short version.
And, oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say, and in your recovery process, at some point, you were inspired to write a book.
Yeah.
And I would love to hear about your book, Musings of an Ex-Crackhead. It's a huge accomplishment to recover and to write a book. Like,
yeah, I started Musings of an Ex-Crackhead. Actually, it started out as one of the good things about recovering people, and even as a counselor, was journaling. You know, you got to journal. You got to talk about it so that you can look at where you are and then look where you came from. So mainly, I just started writing. And well, let me put it this way: the original idea was when I went through treatment many times. There were some things that I missed, and I'm like, wow. But my prayer to God was like, if I ever get through this, I want to be able to write a devotional book in particular for people that's in recovery. So I could, because I know when I went through, I said, wow, if I had this to read and I had that. So I began to, it started off just as a devotional journal. And then my good friend and editor, by the name of Diane Reeder, up in Detroit, and so I just put down my story at the beginning, and she says, "Oh no, we're gonna change this. You're gonna put your story." And she encouraged me. I'm like, I just want a devotion. Like, no. And so I wrote basically how I got caught up in it, how I started, and and I also wanted to show in the book that addiction definitely is not a respecter of persons. And I think on every aspect, I think if we look at that from whether you're in politics, whether you're in religion, whether you're a preacher, whatever, addiction does not discriminate. And so I wanted to show that. I was a preacher and a pastor and was preaching on Sunday morning, and I would end up in the crack house at about 8, 9 o'clock that evening. Some people just shocked me, look at the city. I'm like, yeah, that's what it was. And so Musings of an Ex-Crackhead is devotional, and it's my story at the beginning, and then it was mainly written for people that are in treatment, so they can have something and let them know that, look, you know what, you're not alone. God and other folks here, and I'm here if necessary to help you through that. So that's kind of it in the gist.
That's great.
Yeah, I'm really glad you said what you said, because a lot of people don't realize that addiction does not discriminate. It does not see color. It does not see income. It does not see status or anything else.
As a matter of fact, let me racially, let me share with you a story. How when I was at a treatment place in Aurora. It was my last place, called Wayside Cross. And so I remember a guy that was there. He wanted me to come to this faith-based program called Celebrate Recovery. And so it was way out in Oswego, and it was a big, nice church, and it was pretty much 99% white. And so, he kept asking me. This guy was black, and he kept asking me to go. And I'm like, man, no. And then I finally told him, I said, listen, I'm quite sure that those little nice white people out there got a good intentions, but look, I'm a brother from Detroit that's on crack, and I don't know if they can relate to me, because I don't know what they're talking about. Anyway, I finally went, and sometimes I get emotional if I talk about it, but I remember a lady there. She was a white lady, and she was on us. She talked about her addiction, and I don't even know, I can't remember what it was she was addicted to, but I remember sitting in the aisle, and I remember God speaking to me. He says, "What do you see?" And I say, I see a white lady talking about, got us crying and talking about what she's went through. And he says, "No, what you see is pain." And God says, there's no white pain and there's no black pain. Pain does not have a color. Never forgot that. you know, there's no white pain, no Puerto Rican pain, no Mexican pain. Pain is pain. And so that was years ago. So I never forgot that. That taught me. And so around the spectrum, you know, people, that's what we relate to. You know, you going through pain, whether you're in the suburbs and you going through abuse, or you going through drinking, or you down on 79th Street, you know, the pain that you go through is the same pain. So that helped me a lot. So that taught me a lot about the journey and the continued journey about addiction.
What should someone do if they have a friend or family member who has either mental health issues or addiction issues?
Well, the mental health one is sometimes can be a little more difficult because, well, let me put it this way. A lot of times people with the mental health, whether it's schizo or just bipolar, they may be using for a different reason. So in other words, they're using to not necessarily get high, they're using to feel normal.
Mm-hmm.
And so the medication is a big issue, and trying to get them to convince them to take their medication. Now, unfortunately, sometimes the spectrum can be getting them committed, or I don't like to use the word committed, or getting someone to be part of a training their life over you know, their affairs, to get them to take, depending on what the issue, what the mental health issue is. And then, of course, there's a lot of friends of mine who realize now, being clean for a while, that the correlation between like bipolar, you know, have in that. And then, oh, by the way, there's also meetings for people with what we call NA meetings for people with co-occurring disorders. So in other words, and because there used to be a stigma, you know, people would come into the rooms and then everybody else was talking about addiction and getting off of heroin, getting off of cocaine, but there was no venue for them to talk about this other part, you know, taking the importance of taking your medication for bipolar, the importance of taking your medication for schizo disorder. So that's kind of a long answer, but I think in terms of depending on how serious it is, with the mental issue, in terms of getting them to take the medication. Now, in terms of just substance abuse, or somebody's using, everybody's bottom is different, and so some people have to the thought of losing everything. The wife comes home and says, "If you don't stop drinking, I'm losing you. I mean, I'm gonna leave you," or the kids. That may be the issue that has to happen. I have a relative who just called me about one of her children and she asked the same question. You're like, Tim, you know, you're the one in our family. You kind of an expert. What can I do? And I just told her, I said, you know, right, there's nothing you can do, because they have to make that choice. They got to make that choice. And then we said, well, we'll be there to support them, because if you do it for them, sometimes it's just like, you know, I'm just doing it for family. So it's a painful process. But they need people that's going to stick with them through this journey too. Because a lot of times family members and other folks don't understand. They're just like, just stop, just get yourself together.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm one who believes in the disease model of addiction. So I mean, I believe that it is chronic, it's progressive, and it's fatal. Actually, that's the medical definition for any disease. It's chronic, meaning that it's not going away. It's progressive, that it's not, if it don't get treated, it's going to get worse. And if it don't get treated, the last one is fatal. So yeah, if sometimes, you know, you can just, if it's a teenager, you can just make them go in terms of going to treatment. But unfortunately, for others, it's got to, most of the time, it has to be their choice. Of course, unless they get arrested and then they're forced to go to treatment.
Hey, Timothy, as we close out this segment, what would you tell someone as far as what to do right now if they're dealing with some type of addiction, maybe an abuse or something, and they really want to get help, they want to change, what would you suggest that they do right now?
The first thing I would tell them to do right now, if there are any, whether it's phone or computer savvy, I would tell them, encourage them, like, look, get to some Zoom, some of the recovery meetings. You got your choice. You got NA, you got AA, you got faith-based, and you need to talk with somebody and share, and you need to be around people that's struggling and going through the same thing that you are going through. The other thing is, if they really want to get help, then they need to get into some of those meetings and contact somebody like me. Part of my ministry is helping people get to treatment, and then we can get you into a treatment place, and if you're serious, and start that. But the main thing is they gotta take that step. And the first thing I would say, get to some meetings, and then of course, and at the meetings, there's so many kind and loving people that will share and get phone numbers. How can I help you? And whatever the city they're in. So that would be the first thing. That's the first step.
That's great. I did have one question actually for
Sure.
How you were saying the family members, how sometimes they don't want to believe it or not as supportive, or they don't know how to support this first step of their family member getting treatment or their friend getting treatment. Are there places you can direct those people to as like a group to kind of help through that, or?
Yeah, each NA and NA and AA have groups called Al-Anon and Nar-Anon, and those are alcoholics for people who, like, if you're married to an alcoholic or if you got a family member. So those are support groups that actually meet just like NA groups, so the family members can go and learn about addiction. 90% of the time, most of the family members, they don't know. Once they know what to do, what not to put up with, and how they can help, they can help start the process and just learn. What I did with my family after I went through some things, I taught my family about addiction. And then I also told them to be able to identify when I'm lying. Now, of course, some of that came back on me.
Sure.
But it was good. It was good.
Yeah.
I told them, I said, if I tell you this, trust me. I'm not saying this now, but I'm going to be lying. Now, of course, when it happened, I didn't like it.
Yeah.
But you got to
Right.
be able to
Yeah.
do that.
Mm-hmm.
You got to be able to do that. Yeah.
Great.
I tell you, we can talk about this for a long time, and
Yeah.
I really, really appreciate you coming on the show. We really appreciate you
Mhm.
taking time out of your day to, to discuss this very important issue and, get some insight and also maybe some tools or some insight or directions for someone who wants to get out of this. And I really want to thank you, and we really
Absolutely.
appreciate it.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Anytime, be able to help, anything you need me to do, Lawrence, let me know.
I appreciate that, Timothy. And don't go away. We will be right back. Welcome back, everyone, to Chase Your Dreams, the place where dreams become reality. We are very blessed to have the #2 U.S. Spotify leader with his terrific new song called Sunrise by Kenny Elrod. Kenny, thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thank you guys for having me. Really.
It's such a pleasure for you to be here, for us to be here with you, I meant. And I wanted to start off to find out, I was just curious, how do you feel about all the attention that you're getting right now? Because right now, you are on fire on Spotify, on
I know.
TikTok, all over the website.
Honestly, I don't even know how to feel. It was so unexpected. It's like completely unbelievable that all of this is happening. When I first made the song, I never expected it to take off like this. I was just making it in GarageBand, just having a little fun with it. I wasn't expecting it to like actually get out there to people like as crazy as it has. Honestly, unbelievable.
So what inspired you to write it?
So with everything going on, like with the pandemic and everything, everything's just so negative and really just nothing's going right. So I just decided to write a song with a little positivity that just put a smile on people's faces, you know? So the lyrics are really positive and upbeat. The melody is upbeat and everything. I just wanted to make a happy song just to put a smile on people's faces, basically.
I have to say, the song plus your album artwork of you with a guitar on a cloud, I was like, as soon as I saw it, I was just like, I am in a better place already. And then I listened to the
That's
song.
exactly what I wanted too.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
So great. Did you do the artwork for that?
Yes, I did.
Oh my gosh. So great. So I see you're holding a guitar in that and on the album. Is that your main instrument, or do you have other instruments that you play as well?
Actually, I would say my main instrument is most likely piano, if I were to have a main instrument. I'm teaching myself how to play guitar as of now, right now. I'm not really that good yet, and I'm still learning, but I'd say my main instrument is probably piano.
That's great.
Yeah.
Do you plan on writing music incorporating
Yeah,
piano and guitar, or?
definitely.
Okay.
Once I get better at learning both of those instruments, like actually like master them, I'm definitely going to start writing my songs using those instruments, putting them to use.
That's so great. And you said you use GarageBand, so you're doing your own mixing and everything.
Yeah, exactly.
That's so great.
Thank you. Yeah.
So it seems like you are an overnight success, but I'm sure more has went into this. How long have you been a musician and been playing with music?
I have actually been making music for about a year in GarageBand. When I first started off, I was just making like small little songs. They were really nothing special. The songs I was making in GarageBand were really just me learning how to use the platform better and learning how to make music better. And eventually, as of now, I got to the point where I really feel like I can start making real songs and actually like posting them for people to hear. And that's really, Sunrise is my first song that I was really happy with, that I thought I could share with more people.
And it's a
And
great song.
You said that you were just doing, like, this is like your first year of doing it, and like this song was really just to uplift people because we're in this kind of not so fun time is a light way of saying it.
Exactly. Yeah.
So had you always planned on like working towards a music career, or was this just something that you were like, oh, I'm proud of this, I would like to share it?
Yeah, definitely. So when I first started making music, I really just wanted to like get good at making music because I knew that was something that I wanted to do for a long time. And I definitely still stand by that. I definitely want to make a career in music when I'm older. It's something that I really enjoy. So, yeah.
That's great. Well, good start.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I know.
So who are some of your inspirations?
I like artists like Post Malone, Billie Eilish, really the hottest like artists right now, the pop artists, basically. My favorite genre is probably pop and alternative and indie, and those artists that fit along those genres are really my favorite artists, people like that.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Are there any particular artists that you would like to collaborate with? You know, some dream artists or whatever?
Oh, definitely. There's a lot of people I would love to collaborate with, like definitely Billie Eilish, Post Malone, Khalid, Doja Cat. Like, there's so many people that inspire me like crazy who I'd love to collab with, for sure.
So cool. Now, so you've had some really wonderful success so far with this. Has anyone reached out to you? Like,
definitely.
Oh,
there
wow.
have been people from record labels reaching out to me. There have been people asking to shoot music videos, asking to have photo shoots. A lot of different people have been reaching out to me, for sure.
Are you interested in any of these things?
Definitely. Absolutely. I
Awesome.
actually really find interest in getting signed to a record label. And for the people reaching out wanting to record music videos, I also think that's really necessary. I think it'd be extremely fun to record a music video because, I don't know, I've never done anything like that before, and I think it'd be really exciting to do something like that.
Now, with all this recent success and everything coming so fast at you, Kenny, what are you doing, or how do you maintain your sense of stability and calm when, you know, you probably want to jump up and just start jumping all up and down in your room because it's just so amazing? You know, a lot of people go their whole careers and never get the success that you receive in such a short period. How are you taking it all in and handling it?
Honestly, I'm still at this, it just started last week, and I'm still at this point where I still don't even really understand what's going on. I don't understand how all of this started, if I'm going to be honest. But I've just been, you know, I've just still been making music in my room, just honestly just chilling. Like, I'm just letting it flow through.
That's really, that's great to like really hang on to that momentum and continue writing. So is that something that your fans could look forward to, that you're really writing, you know, you really want to be writing a whole library of music?
Definitely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I'm working on more music right now, and I'm hoping I could just get more music out there for more people to hear, because it's all just so exciting.
That's so great.
Yeah.
Yes. I can't wait for the music video. Honestly,
know,
that's what I want, the music video.
I cannot wait for it either. Trust me. I'm extremely excited.
That's so great. Are they like, I want to ask you and your dad. Sorry, I just revealed. Since you're a minor, are people like sending contracts, or like, is that something where you guys are weighing different options at this point already? Like, that's amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, basically, in case no one in the audience knows, Kenny is actually my son, so I actually manage his career too. And it's been unbelievable. And we're talking major labels reached out. And, you know, right now we're in the process of working with the lawyer and looking at contracts and trying to decide what direction we want to go. We've had some amazing opportunities come our way, and, you know, we kind of took the perspective of, you know, taking a deep breath and kind of taking it all in and seeing what makes sense for us in the situation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm letting him take care of all of that, though, because I'm definitely not suited to take care of attorneys and lawyers and stuff like that.
You guys
You're
are
the
already,
artist.
yeah, exactly. You guys are already like, it's professional kind of work you got going on. You got a manager already, you know, just so you can be the artist and do your thing.
Yeah, he takes care of all the other stuff.
Yeah.
I'm counting on him for that.
That's
Good
so
dads are
great.
for.
Exactly. Yeah.
That is so true. And, you know, I wanted to find out, Kenny, because I know you've made other music that you haven't published. What made you decide to publish this particular song versus all the other music that you did not put out there?
Well, all the music that I made before, that was still just me like learning how to use GarageBand, the platform that I used to make my music. All the other songs I made before, it's not that I didn't like them, I just wasn't as happy with them at the time. I thought they were good songs, but I didn't think they were good enough to publish on like major platforms like Spotify and Apple Music. So when I first wrote Sunrise and I listened to it for the first time, that's when I was like, wow, I actually really like this song. And I decided this was the song that I wanted to post for my first song, for sure.
That's great.
So do you have any formal training? Like, have you taken piano lessons or been in band at school or anything?
I have not taken piano lessons. I was in orchestra for 1 year in middle school, but I don't play the instrument that I played in orchestra anymore. I played the huge bass looking thing. So I have actually not gotten any like actual lessons on how to make music or play any instruments before, but I really want to. I do want to, but I've just been teaching myself, basically.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Hey, Kenny, I want to find out, did someone teach you GarageBand? Because I've never heard of anyone who used GarageBand and reached the amount of success that you did, as far as the chart-topping hit that you have and all over the internet. And basically, in case people don't know, GarageBand is actually an app that's on your phone. Most people don't know that. So did you teach yourself that, or did someone help you as far as learning?
Nobody helped me. I had to teach myself how to play all that, because most artists, like big artists, they use like professional music softwares to make their music. GarageBand is a free app that you can get on your phone. No artists really use that because they have access to better softwares. So I really just had to teach myself how to make it, because not a lot of people can really make good music out of GarageBand. So.
Well, clearly it's possible because look at you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Yeah. Thank
Well,
you.
Kenny, we really appreciate you coming on board.
I appreciate you guys having me.
How can people follow you, listen to your music, purchase your music?
Yeah.
What does someone need to do?
So if you look up Kenny Elrod on Apple Music, Spotify, Amazon Music, Google Play, really any music platform you can think of, just look up Kenny Elrod and it'll pop up for me, and you can follow me, and then you can stay updated with all the music that I'll be posting and everything.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Oh, great.
Well, Kenny, I appreciate you coming on board. We're going to take a quick break, but once we get back, we are going to hear the top chart-hitting internet sensation, Sunrise by Kenny Elrod. Don't go away. We'll be right back.
Watch the sunrise, feel the ray shine through, it's a good life to be sharing with you, have a good cry. But come back brand new, time goes on, but it won't move without you. I know it's hard when things get low, but you just gotta take it slow. Just gotta learn to let it go, 'cause you know that I'll be right here. You and I, we both see from the same heart. Times are rough, but that can't keep us apart. Don't let go, stay real close, keep it locked eyes. Follow me down the path to a good life. Watch the sunrise, feel the ray shine through, it's a good life to be sharing with you, have a good cry. But come back brand new, time goes on, but it won't move without you. Oh, 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 oh. Time goes on, but it won't move without you. Life keeps on moving and never stops. We'll keep on climbing till we reach the top, 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 the top. Let all of your worries rock away, 'cause we're not gonna let it all get in our way. Listen, you and I, we both see from the same heart. Times are rough, but that can't keep us apart. Don't let go, stay real close, keep it locked eyes. Follow me down the path to a good life. Watch the sunrise, feel the ray shine through, it's a good life to be sharing with you, have a good cry. But come back brand new, time goes on, but it won't move without you. Oh, 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 time goes on, but it won't move without you. You and I, we both see from the same heart. Times are rough, but that can't keep us apart. Don't let go, stay real close, keeping locked eyes. Follow me down the path to a good life. You and I, we both see from the same heart. Times are rough, but that can't keep us apart. Don't let go, stay real close, keeping locked eyes. Follow me down the path to a good life. Watch the sunrise, feel the ray shine through, it's a good life to be sharing with you, have a